Hello everyone, welcome along to a new week of Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. Not only do we have a new week, we have a new surface. We've gone from the clay after the final at the French Open on to the grass with the build-up to Wimbledon. Yesterday's news was the French Open. Now it's all about the countdown to SW19, and we have two ATP Tour 250 events this week to discuss with a matches betting and also who we think will win the tournaments. Joining me to do so is our senior ATP Tour handicapper. It's Sean Calvert. Now, Sean, we've just sat through 4.5 hours of watching Carlos Alcaraz win his third major championship with a 5-set victory over Alexander Zverev. It was a good match for us. We didn't have an official play, but our total games for Alcaraz are lean, 1. We also had under 9.5 sets, games in set 1. That cashed. Yep. The only one that didn't was our 3-1 prediction on Alcaraz, but I was quite keen on the over 38.5, and we pretty much called it right. We said there's not going to be many tie breaks, sets of 6-3, 6-2, and anyone who followed the leans again would have been cashing those tickets.
Yeah, it's kind of as I suggested, really. You asked me whether I thought Zverev had the bottle, basically, to win a major, and my answer was, I don't think he does, and I think that's what we've seen there, in a nutshell. It was a weird match, as the finals always are. That's why I'm not overly keen to have official picks on the finals, because, lots of peculiar things happen. The cramps, the nervousness, all that sort of stuff, and ultimately, the bottom line is Zverev won 3 more games in the match after being 2-1 up, and it comes as no surprise. Zverev's obviously a very good player, top player, but I question whether he had the mental strength to kick on. I think I even said, if Zverev leads, that's probably the best time to back Alcaraz, and it's the same thing with Zverev. It's just going to get harder for him now. He's lost a couple of majors in very tight situations. If it already wasn't playing his mind, which it obviously is, it's going to get worse now. He just deep down, he just doesn't believe, and that I think that showed itself, particularly in the 4th set when he was 2-1 up. Alcaraz was having the trainer medical timeout. Was it cramps? Probably. Certainly didn't seem particularly injured, did he? So I think when all's said and done, Zverev's got to look at himself and go, another chance slips by, and Alcaraz, to his credit, stepped up, didn't he? It's not like he was playing lights-out tennis, Alcaraz, in the 4th and 5th. He did at times, of course, but ultimately I think Zverev, as I suggested he would, he didn't have the bottle to see it through. It's not a nice thing to say, but ultimately I think that's what it was. I
did take 12-1 pre-tournament on Zverev each way, and when he was 2-1 up, I hedged. I never usually do it, but I hear the words of Sean Calvert. Plus 175 he was.
Yeah, you never felt like...
That's Alcaraz that was at 175.
Yeah, Alcaraz, yeah. You never felt like Zverev was... Well, I didn't. I never felt like he was going to see that through unless the physical issues of Alcaraz were really going to pile up, and it rendered him kind of almost unplayable. I just felt like Zverev was... There was a choke in there somewhere, and I just don't think he's got the minerals for it. Well, compared to Alcaraz, he stepped up. I know he was 5-2 up in the final set, served it out with any major problems. But, the nerves have always been there for Zverev, and unfortunately for him, they continue to be.
It was a long day. It's been a long day because we've been posting pics. Well, I've been posting pics on the Instagram account, that because we win Instagram account throughout the day. And if you'd follow those, after set 1, we gave over 31.5 total games, which I thought was a huge reaction after set 1, because the line pre-match was 38.5, then it went to 31 after set 1. I couldn't understand that move.
It was that nervy set, wasn't it? The nervy opening set that we suggested, and then...
Yeah. To move it by 7, though?
Yeah, that's not indicative of the match, is it? That first set. That's just let's get this out of the way, and then the match starts. So I think they're wrong to move it like that. Zverev was always gonna come back from behind. It's from ahead where I don't trust him.
Mm. And then we had over set 2 over 39.5, which I thought was a little bit cheap. I think at the line I said should have been around 41. And then after set 3, we cashed with Alcaraz at plus 175. Those results do not go on the records. They're just
bets that we give in play.
Little bonus, all the different content. So if you're new to this channel, there's been thousands of you been watching the show over the last 2 weeks at the French Open. It's not all about the French Open. We cover all these 250 events. We have Wimbledon coming up as well. And the Instagram account is giving fresh content. So make sure you follow that as well, at Because We Win on Instagram, and also at Because We Win on Twitter. You'll get much more different content as well. It's all about now. But before we go on to this week, let's give you a little bit of an update from Bet Rivers after the matches there. Wimbledon 2024. They've actually, Bet Rivers haven't got Novak Djokovic in the market. So I don't know.
But he's not going to play, is he?
Has he said that? Has he said that?
Yeah, he's having an operation on his knees. He hasn't definitely said I'm not going to play. I don't think, but it's highly unlikely because he's going under the knife. Or has done.
Yeah, well, he's not in. I know I've seen some other odds with some other books, but for Bet Rivers have not got him in. So it looks as though Djokovic isn't going to compete at Wimbledon. They're currently Alcaraz plus 170, Yannick Sinner plus 170. Obviously came through that semi-final. Alexander Zverev is the third favourite for Wimbledon at 13. Medvedev is 13. Taylor Fritz 20. Alex de Minaur 25. Hurkacz 30. Rublev 30. Grigor Dimitrov 30. Do you think that Alcaraz and Sinner will dominate Wimbledon, or do you know, it's a lot to come? We're going to see how it sort of unfolds over the next couple of few weeks now on a very short grass court sim. But 170 does seem a little bit sort of low for me.
They're not great prices, are they? But they're the best two players at the minute in the world. And obviously, if you take Djokovic out, which we have done effectively, he's not highly unlikely to play, very unlikely. So, you know, it's not a great price, but it does tell a tale, doesn't it? Those two are likely to contest it. Yeah. There are some big price ones that I've kind of got a little bit in the back of my mind, but I'm going to see how it goes. We'll save that for later, I think.
We'll save that for later. Everything's going to unfold. We're going to see how these are like build-up tournaments now to Wimbledon. Some people the players don't want to peak too early with their form, so they come into these 250 events, get some little finely tuned matches on the grass. We're going to start off with a tournament in Hertogenbosch in the Netherlands. It used to be called Rosmalen. It's over in Hertogenbosch.
It is in Rosmalen, yeah. It's basically outside of Den Bosch in Rosmalen. I always call it Rosmalen because that's physically where it is.
Yeah, and it's a tournament that's been around for many years, and you look at the previous winners. There's some good players who won it. Last year it was won by Talon Griekspoor, who should have beaten Zverev at the French Open. Then we have Van Rijthoven, who won Shock. He won it in 2022, and he's making his reappearance on the tour here as a wild card. We have Manarino, Gasquet as previous winners. Big serving Frenchman Nicolas Mahut has won it 3 times. Gilles Muller was another big server. He's won it as well. So big servers have done very, very well here. Usually it's a conditions that's quite fast, but I'm looking at the weather forecast across Europe at the moment, and especially here in sort of northern Europe and over in the Netherlands, it's not hot. It's quite chilly, isn't it? And a bit of rain around as well.
Yes. Do you want me to talk about the conditions in Rosmalen?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit slower than Stuttgart. Stuttgart's up a big old hill, so it's got altitude. So it's played at sea level. It averages 84% holds a serve, 74.4% first serve points won. It's kind of an average paced grass court. This is not as quick as Stuttgart, as I say. 44% of the matches feature a tie break. Not much really in the over-unders. Overs is slight edge. 52% of those have gone over 22.5 games in the last 5 editions. I've also, on the grass court, I've also added in over 10.5 games in set 1, because that's a bet a lot of people will like on the grass, the quick conditions. Much more in Stuttgart, but in Rosmalen, 36% of the matches have gone over 10.5 games in set 1 in the last 5 editions. Not a fabulous tournament for underdogs. 31% have won on average, which is kind of about average for the tour, really. But the best round is the semi-final, where 56% of the underdogs have won on average. And in round 1, only 25% win. So it's a peculiar tournament where the best round is towards the end as far as underdog winners are concerned. As you touched on there, the weather is very unsettled this week, isn't it? Particularly in Rosmalen. It looks like quite a lot of rain is due on Monday, some potentially on Tuesday, and then I think it clears up, and then the rain comes back again sort of at the weekend, Friday to Sunday. So a little bit unsettled. Do you want to talk about the trends, or should we leave that for a second?
Yeah, keep going, yeah.
Okay, so 5 of the last 6 outright winners here, and winners and runners-up, should I say, have been priced between 28-1 and 250-1. The 250-1 was Van Rijthoven when he won it a couple of years ago. He's barely played since, plagued with injuries. He was a massive price to win it, but win it he did. think he beat Medvedev in the final that year.
He
So
did.
this is perhaps the best stat here. No number one seed has won this title since David Ferrer in 2012. So over 10 years ago. And 3 of the last 4 years, the top seed has lost their opening match. So it's not a great tournament for number one seeds. And qualifiers often go well here. Qualifiers have made at least the semi-finals in 6 of the last 10 editions of this tournament.
Interesting stats I like about the favourites there, because you tend to find these in the 250 events, don't you? You want the sort of higher market players, the big seeds, will want to get a little bit of grass court action, but they don't want to pick too early. So I can understand why the semi-finalists, you get to the semi-finals and then think, oh, okay. Very similar to what we saw in Geneva, didn't it, before the build-up to the French Open. I know it's a few weeks away from Wimbledon,
yeah, it's
but
a couple of weeks difference.
Nobody really wants to peak a little bit too early and go through the run of winning these kind of 250s. So I understand the logistics why that is. Let's have a look at the draw, and this is the all-important draw, obviously. And the way this works, it's a 32-man draw. The top 4 seeds get buys through to the second round, and then the players play for the right to play the seeds. We have Alex de Minaur as the number one seed. Number one seed. He's in the top half of the draw with Hugo Humbert, the Frenchman, who's a big serving left-hand who likes a bit of grass courts, unless he goes to the Queen's Club and we bet him he gets beat by Ryan Pedeston, which is not a very good run for us. And not that I can remember.
Have you?
I haven't forgot that. Bottom half of the draw, Kachanov and Tommy Paul are the 2 seeded players. But the other seeded players in that section, if you're looking at the quarterfinals, it'd be Alex de Minaur against Jordan Thompson, a potential all-Aussie affair in the quarterfinal. Humbert will play Mannarino in a potential all-French affair in the top half. Talon Greek squad, the defending champion, will play Karin Kachanov in a big hitting affair in the quarterfinals. And then an all-American affair in the quarterfinals in the last quarter between Sebastian Korda and Tommy Paul, if it works to the draw. And obviously these things do not go and work to the draw as we would expect. Let's have a look at the outright odds. Alex de Minaur is 4-1 favourite to win this. Kachanov is 6. Greek Sport is plus 650. Defending champion, a player who's had a good run in the French Open and coming here full of confidence. Tommy Paul, 650. Sebastian Korda is $9. A player with all his abilities should be starting this tournament as a favourite on the grass, but has had a bad year. Jordan Thompson, 14. Hugo Humbert, 14. Quite surprised by that. Roberto Bautista Agut, the veteran, 16. Artur Feast, the youngster Frenchman, 20-1. Milos Raonic, who's a former Wimbledon finalist, he's 20-1. Adrian Mannarino, 25. Van Rijthoven, as we said, the winner here in 2022, 25-1. Popyrin, 28. Mensik, 28. Kekmanovic at 28. And Vukic at 33-1. Looking at the draw, really, there's not... I wouldn't like to say whether I want to be in the top half or the bottom half. They seem very equally sort of level, really. There's no sort of huge advantage as far as I can see. I don't know if you think any different to me, Sean. I don't know what you make of the draw here, but I think it's pretty even.
There's a player I really like in this, which I think is a bit of a silly price, to be honest. I agree. There's not much in the top or the bottom half. I wouldn't say one half is stronger than the other. Lots of quality players in both halves, but with these grass court tournaments, particularly just after the French, you've got to think about players, how much effort they've put in on the clay court swing, how motivated are they for this particular week. I would not be keen on Alex de Minaur's chances this week. He's not got a great record here anyway. I think he's 2-3 win-loss or 2-4, something like that. Not a good record here. Just made the quarters, I think, didn't he, at the French? He certainly went a long way. Yeah. I think he lost. It was very evident in the quarters, I think it was. That would put me off him. I mean, you've talked about him as a Wimbledon possibility. He probably thinks that as well.
He has been bet. He's bet from 66-1 down to like 25. I think that's obviously the withdrawal from Djokovic, and it was. It looks a very wide open Wimbledon if you want to look outside the top two.
He's a contender for sure, but he'll think he's a contender as well. And I can't imagine after all the effort that he went through on clay just a few days ago. I can't imagine he's going to go all the way here. It's possible, but not for me at that price. I really like Adrian Mannarino here.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew
25-1. I mean, I thought
he's a former winner.
I thought he'd be about half that price. I'm quite surprised at this. This is kind of like the Tsitsipas thing, where Tsitsipas had no form coming into the clay, but coming back onto the clay, he's a different animal. This is the same sort of thing with Adrian Mannarino. If people don't know Mannarino, not familiar with him. He's a grass court guy, loves the quick, low bouncing surface. He's terrible on clay. So he comes here having expended virtually zero energy on the clay court swing, comes back to a tournament that he absolutely loves. He's 15-8 win-loss here, won 10 of his last 12 matches at this tournament, Mannarino. And his last 12 months on grass, he's getting on a bit, but his stats on grass are still very, very good. Last 12 months at main level, 75% win rate on this surface. Service points won and return points won, total of 103, and a hold and break total of 110. Now, you're giving me 25-1 about a guy with these credentials. A lot of the time, the books look at recent form, and it's not that relevant because Mannarino doesn't put a bar of energy into the clay court swing. He knows he's not going to do anything. And similarly, Jordan Thompson, who's plus 1,400 here, which is the kind of price that I thought Mannarino was going to be. It's the same thing, really, with Jordan Thompson. He's come in here having put arguably even less effort into the clay court swing than Mannarino did. And he's a former finalist. He's been a finalist twice, I think, Jordan Thompson, off the top of my head. Lost to Mannarino, one of the finals. I think he lost to Greek Sport last year as well, didn't he? Off the top of my head.
He beat Mannarino last year here in the quarterfinals.
He did, but Mannarino's 4-1 head-to-head on grass against Thompson. So, you know, and Mannarino's 25s and Thompson's 14s. I mean, Thompson, I think, has got a decent chance, but he's got a tough quarter. You know, Raonic could serve him out of it in the first round if Raonic is fit, which, you know, you never know. Humbert, I'm not convinced about. I'm not sure that he's fully fit. He certainly wasn't fit in Lyon. Didn't look fit to me at Roland Garros either. He's another one that doesn't have a particularly good record at this tournament. He's got a good record on grass, former Halle winner. He's very, very good on grass, but he's never shown it here in Rosemont. He's taken a week or two or sometimes 3 weeks, to find his form on grass. I'm not convinced about Humbert. Mannarino actually beat Humbert on grass in Newport last year. Mm-hmm. So I think there's an awful lot to like about Mannarino's chances here. And he's got, as I said, he's got that good draw in the second quarter. Napolitano in the first round, the qualifier. Then the winner of either Mensik, who, as far as I can tell, has never played on grass. And he's coming in here with injury problems, or Brauver. You know, you'd expect him to win that. And I would fancy him against Humbert, if it was Humbert, in the quarterfinals. But Q1, you know, it's got De Minaur, it's got Zizou Bergs, who's played so well recently. Van Rijthoven, if he's fit, which you have to question. Bautista Agurt's former winner here, I think, many years ago. Huesler, who's always dangerous in quick conditions. Raonic and Thompson. That's the first quarter. You know, that's going to be very difficult to get out of. Where I see Q2 Mannarino's quarter is quite a bit easier. So for me, I think he's the standout bet of the tournament, Mannarino.
Just to give you some insight to Mannarino's grass court form last year, he reached the quarterfinals of his event, got beat by Thompson, as we said. Reached the quarterfinals at Queen's Club, where he got beat by Alex de Minaur in three tight sets. He reached the final in Mallorca, where he got beat by Christopher Eubanks. He got beat in the second round at Wimbledon by Medvedev, which was, you know, he was a 3-1 outsider for that match. And then he won the tournament in Newport on grass as well. So this is a man who's got to two finals, won one tournament and two quarterfinals last year on grass, and he's 25-1 to win a tournament. So that is an absolute fantastic. I knew you were going to pick him. I knew 100% that you were going to pick him.
I do like Mannarino on grass, but everyone's got their price. You know, if he was about 8-1, I probably wouldn't have been so keen. But I think his price is, I think it's a little bit disrespectful, in all honesty. Probably doesn't come as a surprise to anybody. I often back Mannarino on the grass, but you know, the price is right, I feel, here, definitely.
Very big price. And he's also won for us already. I don't know if this year or last year. Was it this year or last year? He won for us, I think it may have been end of last year. He won for us for a tournament as well. So he's a player. He has done the show some good favours. And Mannarino at 25-1 is a very, very nice price. And that will be our official pick for the tournament in Hertogenbosch. We have also looked at two matches. Probably not tomorrow. They'll probably be played on Tuesday in Hertogenbosch. And the first match we're going to speak about is Alexei Popyrin, the veteran. He's up against Rinky Hijikata. Popyrin is minus 167. Hijikata is plus 135. The spread here is 1.5. Popyrin giving up 1.5 is minus 134. Hijikata receiving 1.5 is plus 104. And the total's high, 23.5, with over plus 102, under minus 132. If you look at the grass record for these two players, I think this is really important as well, to look at the grass history of their career on grass, not necessarily how they're coming into the tournament, because as Sean has said there, a lot of these players don't like playing on the clay, and they come here with a bit of form. They don't have come here with no form, and that you want to sort of overlook that and look at their grass court form. Popyrin 17-20 on his career on the grass, and Hijikata is 14-10. Hijikata's a couple of years younger than Popyrin. He seems like he's been around a long, long time, Alexei Popyrin.
He's only 24, you know.
Yeah, I know, but I call him a veteran there, but I think he seems to just be someone who's been around for years. But anyway, he's the slight favourite here. Do you agree with that?
A Popyrin favourite? No, I don't. I really don't. I don't like Popyrin on grass at all. He looks very short here, Popyrin, against a player in Hijikata that has shown very good form on this surface. For me, the low bounce, speeding through, kind of skidding through the court on grass is not for Popyrin at all. His movement is average at best. I think I'm being generous in saying he's got average movement. And if you look at his main level performances on grass, he's only won 3 of the 14 main level matches he's played on this surface, Popyrin. It's no surprise really, because he doesn't move that well, and the backhand certainly can be exposed. The movement can be exposed. So all time records, main level on grass, Popyrin's got a 21% win rate and a service points won and return points won total of 96. Very mediocre at best. Hijikata's only played 6 matches at main level on grass, but he's got a 67% win rate and a service points won and return points won total of 103. Now, I know that's a small sample size, if you like. It's only half a dozen matches, but he's certainly shown his liking for grass, whereas Popyrin over a long period of time has shown that he doesn't like it. Popyrin played really well on the clay last season, won UMAG, which is about as slow as you can get. The clay doesn't expose his movement anywhere near as much as grass does. But I was expecting more from Popyrin in this clay swing. He's had a bit of a rough time of it. He beat Rublev in Monte Carlo and then didn't win a match since then. Didn't look like winning a match since then, really. Hijikata, you would also expect to be a struggler on the clay. He's not a clay man by any means. So I'm not worried about Hijikata's form coming in here. It's about the conditions. I don't think Popyrin will enjoy this, particularly early season grass. This will be one of the first matches played on grass of the year, so it's going to be. It's rainy around, isn't it, as well in Rosemont? It's not going to be high bouncing and dry. It's going to be low bouncing and slick. So for me, the conditions, they'll favour Hijikata here. So plus 135. I'm taking an official bet on Hijikata here. I think that's a decent price. Yeah,
Rinky Hijikata is the bet, plus 135. He has the better grass court record than Popyrin, who's probably played a few more matches than him, but Hijikata has the slightly better career record. I move on to the second match, and I am very surprised by these prices. Botic van der Zandschulp is minus 124. The Dutchman is in all kinds of problems with his career at the moment. Some of the things he's saying now, there's a Botic van der Zandschulp aren't encouraging for anyone who wants to take minus 124. And Mackenzie McDonald is even money to win this. The spread is 1.5. The total is 22.5. If you look at the career grass records, Botic van der Zandschulp has only won 10 of his 21 matches, and McDonald has won 31 of his 54. So McDonald is the much better the record on the grass. He's higher in the rankings. Botic van der Zandschulp is in turmoil at the moment. McDonald has played 2 grass court matches this season already. I know that there was a summer series they had in 2022 where Botic van der Zandschulp won it. It's not like a huge ATP Tour event, but there's a slender advantage on their head-to-head. But apart from that, I cannot see any reason why Botic van der Zandschulp is minus 124 to win this match.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I get Botic wrong probably about as often as I get Korda and Humbert wrong, particularly Korda. Botic I have an absolute nightmare with on the betting, but if you're not worried about that, then this looks like a match to me where 2 players are coming into this with very different moods. If you're not familiar with what Van der Zandschulp said after he got absolutely thrashed at the French Open by what's left of Fabio Fognini, which isn't that much because Tommy Paul absolutely crushed Fognini in the round after. He said, and I quote, "The thoughts of quitting have been there for a long time. I've been asking myself more and more lately whether I want to continue. I like the training. Those are great days. But when I get up in the morning, I no longer look forward to the matches at all. And I think this all stems from when he had that meltdown in Munich. He's not been right since, has he? When he should have won the final, should have won the title against Rune, was way ahead, choked it horribly, and he's never been the same player since. Added to that, he almost always struggles playing main level tour matches at home in the Netherlands. He's only 2-5 win-loss at home in Holland, and in Rosmalen he's 0-2. So immediately, if you're thinking of backing Van der Zandschulp was minus 124, that there should be a few alarm bells ringing. McDonald's actually a slightly bigger price when I looked at this earlier on. I think there's been money for him. And McDonald's coming here with a totally different attitude. He's going to be fresh after an awful lot of injury problems this year. He didn't play the first sort of 4 or 5 months of the season, and he just started coming back after the injury problems. He's twice a quarter-finalist here in Rosmalen, so much better form at this particular tournament. As you said, he played Surbiton Challenger a few days ago. I think he only played a couple of matches, didn't he? But that's enough. You know, that's enough for him to be attuned to the grass. So it's just a lean here for me because I do get Botic wrong an awful lot of the time. Whenever I make a case against him, he comes out and plays absolutely brilliant. But you know, if you haven't got the same kind of mental hang-ups as I have about betting in a Botic match, then McDonald here at about evens would have to be the play, I think.
I can't believe that price is going to be there in the morning. I think as people watch this show and people read the stats and the statements from Botic van der Zandschulp, I think people have probably got him the price because of he's playing at home and expect him to raise his game and the crowd be behind him. But
yeah, he doesn't.
The pressure
generally
on him, it doesn't. So I think that's a very, very interesting bet. I mean, I for certain will be betting Mackenzie McDonald. There's no doubt about it. So I can understand your doubts with the read on Botic matches, but I think we're going to put them aside here and place McDonald's. But it's up to you. One official pick tomorrow in Hertogenbosch. It is Rinky Hijikata at plus 135. Mackenzie McDonald at evens. I said tomorrow. I think these matches are going to be played on Tuesday. But if you do head across to the Bet Rivers website, waiting for the order of play to come out, the action should start around about 5 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. If you want to have a bet, head across the whole host of markets available, and you'll be able to bet live and watch live on Bet Rivers. Place a bet on the Bet Rivers app and watch the match on your tablet, mobile device, or your home computer. There is another tournament this week in Stuttgart, and it's a little bit quicker than Hertogenbosch. We'll give you the bracket, but unfortunately, we'll go through the conditions. But unfortunately, we can't really give you any outright odds because the number one seed this week is Alexei Zverev, who was just 45 minutes ago, just been beaten 5 sets by Carlos Alcaraz in the French Open final. So we don't know whether the German number one will participate in his homeland. I doubt it very much. So understandably, Bet Rivers haven't got any odds yet on that tournament. So we have no odds. We'll give you the bracket. We'll give you some stats. We'll let you know our feelings. But I think it's so hard to predict anything, because we do not know if Zverev is going to play. The number one seed will clearly be the favourite for this if he does play. But what mindset is going to be, we have no idea. So before we give the bracket and the draw, you was there last year, wasn't you, at Stuttgart, Sean?
I was.
What's it like?
Yeah.
What's it like?
The tournament or the city?
I know you're not too keen on the city, but the tournament. We'll start with the tournament.
It's not bad. It's all right. The problem is it's at the top of a massive hill. Obviously, that's not a problem if you get a taxi there, but I didn't, as you can probably imagine. It's there's 383 meters of altitude at this particular tournament, which makes it quick. It's obviously slick early season grass anyway, which is generally quick pretty much anywhere. But the altitude makes it a bit quick. It's probably the quickest of all regular ATP Tour events. The only place I can think that would rival it or maybe slightly better it would be Turin, where you were last year. That's very, very quick on indoor hard. But of the regular Tour events, I'd say this was the quickest. It averages 86% holds of serve and 77.1% first serve points won. So quicker than Rosmalen. More tie-break matches than Rosmalen. 53% of the matches feature a tie-break. Not much again about the overs. 51% of the matches in the last 5 editions have gone over 22.5 games. Nothing much there. But this is interesting. Over 10.5 games in set 1, 44% of the matches have gone over 10.5 in set 1 in the last 5 editions. So that's something to bear in mind. Again, underdogs, 33%, roundabout average. The best round here is the first round, which averages 37%. as far as the weather is concerned, the first few days, they look all right, actually. The forecast has changed a little bit. The first few days look okay, and then that rain is supposed to head in later in the week, so it's going to cause more problems later in the week than at the start. The only trend that's of interest here, really, is that only Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal have won this title as number one seeds. All the other top seeds have failed to win it.
And that potentially could be Alexander Zverev, if he doesn't participate, might have a number one seed. So we'll see.
Exactly.
We'll see what happens. We give you the draw, but obviously we can't really give you a pick or advice. Alexander Zverev gets the bye, TFO gets the bye, Bublik gets the bye, and Shelton gets the bye. The top four seeds get the bye through to the second round. Zverev will play an all. They all seem to be all national matchups if they get a bye. So Zverev will have an all German affair with Jean-Leonard Struff. TFO will play Jack Draper if it goes to form. Lorenzo Musetti will play Bublik, and Berrettini. Safferlin will play Shelton. Berrettini plays Safferlin. There is some big names in it, but Alexander Zverev is going to take up a huge percentage of the book. If he doesn't participate, we can't really give you any player because we don't know who's going to be in it. So
it's not going to be priced up, is it? Until he's made a decision. They're not going to put odds out. Nobody is going to put odds out until Zverev's condition, if you like, is known, whether he said yes or no. They're not going to put odds out until then.
Yeah. So I think the best advice for us is to wait till tomorrow morning, see if Zverev participates, and then head across to Bet Rivers and have a look at it. But you've got to go with big servers. Ben Shelton's obviously in there. He's going to be a danger. Jack Draper, if he's fit, he's a big server. TFO's won it before. Struff. So big servings, look for over 10.5 games. Those kind of guys who are the big servers will go through. If you look at the previous winners, TFO, Berrettini, Cilic, Berrettini, Federer, big servers. So that will be the advice. But unfortunately, we can't give you a pick on it or any betting advice because there's a doubt around the number one seed and the tournament favourite. However, we can give you some bets on 2 matches on the first round. And the first match we're going to discuss is Dominik Koepfer, the German. He's up against Zhizhen Zhang. Koepfer is minus 155. Zhang is plus 125. Spread 1.5. Total high 23.5 over minus 107. If you look at the who's the more established grass court player, it's certainly Koepfer, who's played a lot more grass court matches than Zhang, and he's got a much better percentage. But on the head-to-head, they did play once in Zhuhai, and Zhang won very comfortably 7-5, 6-2. Zhang is a young player, 44 in the world, not really a clay courter, but his year this year has been a lot better than Dominik Koepfer's. And that match is tomorrow, and it's 6:20 a.m. Eastern time. Currently, there's 29 different markets available on Bet Rivers. Sean, you have a bet on this match, or a lean on this match. What do you like?
I like Zhang here. I'm not sure that Koepfer should really be much of a favourite for this. I mean, he might have done all right at a lower level on grass, Koepfer, but his main level grass stats not good enough for him to be a minus 155 favourite. At main level on this surface, Koepfer is 3-8 win-loss, which is 11 matches. That's enough of a sort of sample size to suggest that his game so far hasn't proved good enough on this surface at this level. His service points won and return points won total is just 95. It's not inspiring me to back him as a minus 155 favourite. Zhang's only played 6 matches on grass at main level, but he's beaten Sonego, he's beaten Cressy when Cressy was firing and very, very tough opponent on this surface. Also lost in 5 sets to the aforementioned Botic van der Zandschulp at Wimbledon. Should have won that match. I'm still not happy about that. So he's shown some good potential on grass. I feel like it's a surface that he can play well on. And as you said, Zhang also beat Koepfer in straight sets on a hard court, which for me is where Koepfer does his best work on reasonably paced hard courts in their only career meeting. That wasn't Zhuhai, wasn't it? So that was possibly a little bit on the slower side back then. When was it? 2019? I can't remember whether that was when it was really slow or what. But Zhang's also beaten Koepfer in straight sets, as I said. So the other thing about Zhang is he's come in here having played really well on the clay. He played well on the clay last year. He played really well in Madrid. This time it took him a little time to get going on the clay, but he showed really good form in Rome. Also played well in the French Open, which suggests he's come in here not too fatigued, but I think in just the right sort of good form to give this grass swing a real go. And I don't see any problem with him against left-handers. Obviously, he's already beaten Koepfer. He's won 3 of his last 4 matches against left-handers as well. I think he's got a very, very solid backhand. That does tend to stand up pretty well against lefties. just think Koepfer's too short here. He might win this match, Koepfer, but minus 155, that's not for me. So plus 125 on Zhang. I'm happy to take that.
Yep, Zhang plus 125. He is being bet. And if you want to head across to Bet Rivers now, 6:20 a.m. Eastern time. So you haven't got long to get the bets on by the time this goes live. You want to catch it before that line goes. So plus 125 for Zhang. He does lead 1-0. Again, a player that maybe the layers, the bookies, Bet Rivers are looking at home advantage and over factoring that in for a 250 event here. The next match is a very, very evenly bet affair. Not probably the closest match of the first round. It's Artur Rinderknech up against Alex Michelsen, the teenager from America. Michelsen is minus 109. Rinderknech is a marginal favourite at minus 114. The total, again, is 23.5. Michelsen is a big, big, big server. I'm surprised that Michelsen is the underdog here with Bet Rivers. I would have thought, given he's American, I expect some patriotic money, but I think on grass, I think he deserves to be favoured. He's a big server. He's 8-5 in his career, young career so far on main grass court matches. I saw him beat Taylor Fritz. Tommy Fritz. I think of Tommy Paul. I saw him play Taylor Fritz and beat Taylor Fritz on the clay in Geneva.
Yeah.
And he played well. He played very well. Wasn't on a surface that he wasn't used to, but he is a big server. I think clay will suit his game. He's done well in clay before. I think he done well at Newport last
Grass,
year.
yeah.
I was going to say grass will suit his game. We saw him play on clay in Geneva. Grass will give him his game, and I'm surprised he's the dog.
Yeah. I'm not sure about Rinderknech's favourite here at all. His record on grass isn't great, Rinderknech. And in addition to that, he's coming off a retirement at the French Open. He played against Echeverry, didn't he? And he booted a wall in frustration and damaged the cartilage in his toe. Had to retire from the match, and then he withdrew from the Surbiton Challenger. So, not coming in here in great condition. His all-time main level grass court statistics aren't great either. 4-8 win-loss and a service points won and return points won total of 96. Perhaps not what you would expect from a guy with his sort of big serve and forehand, but he certainly hasn't transferred particularly well to grass. I just don't think he moves that well. Again, sort of like Popyrin, not a great mover, and you need to be a good mover to play well on grass, and Michelsen is that. As you said, he got to the final of Newport last year. Only played 6 matches at main level on grass, but he's won 4 of them, and his service points won and return points won total is 104. I just think he's similar power to Rinderknech, but a much, much better mover. I think he's more natural on this surface. If we look at the second serve points that both of these guys have won in the matches that I just mentioned, Rinderknech is 12 and Michelsen 6. Rinderknech only wins 46% of his second serves on this surface. Michelsen 59%. So big difference there. The only thing that's kind of slightly made me sort of think twice a little bit about Michelsen is that he did lose in round 1 of Surbiton. I think Paul Jubb beat him in the first round. It's not a great result there, but even that is still, it was a 3-set match on grass. It's more than Rinderknech has had with his broken cartilage. So you would think that Michelsen, even though he lost that match, would be better prepared than Rinderknech, who's coming from his home major where he had to retire, somewhat self-inflicted in a way. But yeah, I'm happy to take Michelsen as an official pick out. Like you, I think I was expecting these odds to be the other way around.
Yeah, minus 109. And again, I think the minus 109 will be under pressure. This match isn't tomorrow. This match is on Tuesday. Currently, that is the best price in the land with Bet Rivers, minus 109. So if you are going to take that price, you've got to move quickly because it is certain to go. I think it's the wrong favourite here. And I think the 2 favourites will flip-flop. And I think you'll find that Michelsen will be the favourite ahead of that match. So there you have it. They're the 2 tournaments this week. We've just gone from the clay onto the grass. It's the build-up to Wimbledon now. 2 tournaments, 2 250 events. A couple of outright one big outright selection for you, and a couple of match bets for you as well across the 2 tournaments at Hertogenbosch and in Stuttgart. Bet Rivers have a huge array of markets. Head across there. You're not going to miss anything. The best offering of any tennis betting markets you will see stateside. You won't get any better than Bet Rivers on the tennis. Sean, give us your little official picks and your picks for the outright as well.
Yeah, so Stuttgart that we just talked about. So Michelsen, I think he was around about minus 109, wasn't he? Something like that. Yep. To beat Rinderknech, and also Zhizhen plus 125 to beat Dominik Koepfer. Those are the 2 match bets in Stuttgart. We can't do an outright, as Nigel said a minute ago. And Rosmar. I'll have to open that again now. The outright was 25-1, wasn't it, each way? 25-1, I think that's a great price each way. Bet Rivers, Adrian Manarino to win the tournament outright. And the match bet was Hijikata to beat Popyrin at around about, what, plus 125 or plus 130, something like that?
Yep, some very nice price selections there on the outright, on the matches as well. I like McDonald to beat Botic van der Zandschulp. I know Sean's didn't want to...
Makes me nervous.
But I like McDonald there, and I'm very keen on Michelsen as well. So I'll definitely... I bet everything Sean says anyway, but I'll be definitely betting McDonald and Michelsen tomorrow as well if you... want to get a bit of more confidence towards your picks, but obviously, if I might say, you might have more negative. It depends on how you feel. We're in good form, plus 7.76 units on the year. I think Rory's about 12 units up, so about 20 units across both shows on the WTA and the ATP Tour in 2024. On the tennis, we're coming into the business end now of the tennis season. French Open, Wimbledon, and we go into the American Hardcourt campaign as well. So the tennis content really, really hots up here on the Betting Weekly Studios, as well as the soccer content coming up in the next week. It's going to be monster. If you're new to these shows, you're new, and a lot of subscribers come in during the French Open. Thank you very much. But watch the shows as well on the soccer as well. Euro 2024 starts on Friday, the first match, starting from Monday all the way through. All the build up, all the best bets on the outright market, the groups, the props, the top goal scorers will be coming your way, and you can get them by subscribing to Betting Weekly Studios on YouTube. Download this podcast, Betting Weekly Game Bet Match, and all the other podcasts as well on your preferred podcast provider. And don't forget to follow our socials. Lots of extra content on there, on Instagram and on Twitter, at Because We Win. Instagram subscribers and followers would have had an absolute field day today with our in-play picks at the French Open final, and there's going to be loads more in-play coming up, exclusive shows on the Euros as well as Wimbledon coming up as well later on this month. So there's a huge amount of content coming your way. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you join in all the action. Any questions you have for myself or Sean, more than happy to answer them. Put them in the comments box below. Welcome along to everybody. I know we've got loose subscribers as well. If you want to ask anything explained, don't be shy, ask us anything, we'll answer the questions as well. Keep them comments coming. It's good to have interaction, and we'll be back again on Tuesday. We're back on Tuesday. A busy day Tuesday, the Euro 2024. We're back on Tuesday looking at the match bets across these two grass court tournaments, as well as Wednesday as well. But Tuesday, the next time, we'll see you, Sean. Have a good couple of days, and we'll take care, cash some of these tickets, and hopefully be building at 7.6 units for 2024 with some winners across Monday and Tuesday on the grass court return. Take care.